Hi, and welcome back, or welcome to the Mindset and Performance Podcast. I'm Driss, a mindset and performance coach. I help athletes and young professionals with their career development. We work on a wide range of areas from training to nutrition, but focus essentially on the mindset, as it is the key to everything else. The whole idea behind this podcast is to deconstruct the habits that led people to their success, to learn from their experience and understand psychology behind their actions and behavior, and of course, to know what kind of mindsets they have. Okay. Today we're talking with Boujemaa Guilloul, known as Bouj. He's the most famous Moroccan in Hawaii in the field of windsurfing. Boujmaa always does his best to reveal a big part of his know-how in jumping. He's flying ever so high and so fast that he has broken many records in the area. Boujmaa is a true windsurfing artist, and he acquired an international recognition for it. Boujmaa was born in Essaouira, a city in south of Morocco in 1984, and he learned to surf at the age of 12. In 2004, he became professional windsurfer, and since then he has been on tour all over the world. Currently 33 years old, Boujmaa is ranked number 2 in the International Windsurfing Tour. I had the privilege to meet him in 2006 down in his home break, Moulay Bouzrokton, when I was reporting an event that he organized down there. Really excited to share with you this conversation that is around mindset, training habits, life lessons, and his way of thinking, which is very interesting and unique. So stay tuned. This is my conversation with Boujemaa Guilloul. Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey,
how are you
Grace,
doing?
how are you? Yeah, I'm all right. Yourself?
I'm good. I'm so stoked to talk to you here today. I was actually a little bit concerned that we missed the time, that there was some confusion about the time if we should have
Yeah, I
been
got
there
an
earlier.
update. It was 11, saying 11 UTC.
Yeah.
And I was confused because I thought it was 12 because of the first email. It was 12, I guess, 1 p.m. European time.
I see. For me, it shows 7 p.m. Anyways, we're here connected. Thank you for making time for it.
Yeah, pleasure.
Where are you
I'm
calling
very
me from?
stoked. I'm actually in an airport in Paris.
Wow, excellent. Doing podcasts and interviews on airports.
Yes.
How much time do we have?
My next flight is at 9 tonight, 9 p.m.
Oh, we got plenty of time, I guess.
I guess, yeah.
And so where are you heading to? Next adventure?
Actually, tour in Europe. I'm going to go pick up a couple boards in Holland, and then I will fly to Switzerland. Maybe I'm going to try and sail in Holland, but it looks like it's not going to happen. The forecast doesn't look very good. And then I'm flying from Holland back to Switzerland. I'm going to pick up a van, and then I will try and sail in France or Spain, depending on the forecast. And I will be back home in Morocco early October, somewhere around 1st or the 3rd October, inshallah.
I thought you're going to say that you're going to be back to Morocco in 2-3 months. Sounded like a long trip, but I guess it's very back to back.
Actually, I'm just going to go drop off the van in Morocco and fly around the 10th of October, like a week later. After I go to Morocco, I fly in a week later. I'm going to Maui for something like 6 weeks.
Oh, amazing. Sounds like a dream kind of job, or like,
yeah. I get you.
It's going from one place to another.
It's pretty fun. Yeah, it's a gift. It's a blessing.
You have been doing this for a while, right, Boujmaa?
Now it's been something like 14 years. I started in, I think 2003, somewhere then. 2004, I can't remember. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your start. Like, how did you start and where was it? Like, I don't know, first, like, if you remember where we met the first time, it was, I think, around 2006 or 7. I was visiting your hometown for the first time, covering an event. There was like a windsurf event with a lot of sponsors. I can't remember which one it was, but I remember driving all the way down from Rabat to Moulay Bouzrokton. And with my gear, camera, video, back in time, I was doing something completely different than what I'm doing right now. So we were just covering the events and trying to get some interviews with people and podcasting it to the TV channel Ariadia, if you remember the TV channel.
Yeah, I think I do. I think I remember it was, you were with the crew. It was a windsurfing challenge. It was something called Windsurfing Challenge. I think it was an invitational event that gathered some of the best windsurfers in the world. And I think we did a contest and judged each other.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was pretty fun. I think I remember it was sponsored by an airline or something like that.
I remember the waves were huge, water was brown, and it was a lot of flying.
Classic, yeah, it was windy.
Yeah,
I think I remember, Good time.
Good times. I still go back there from time to time. Actually, I took my family-in-law last January, and they just loved it. To Moulay, to the cafe, the restaurant. Awama. We sat in the terrace, and it was their highlight. It was their highlight of the trip. I took them to Essaouira, Agadir, Taghazout, Sidi Kawki, Marrakesh. But that position up there on the roof with a cup of tea, Moroccan tea, it was for them like the best of the best. And for me too, like it was so good to reconnect. Yeah,
I do feel what they felt there. It's a very strong vibe in Moulay. Like, you don't have to do anything special. Just like being there, you feel like you're doing something special, you know, just like chill and like doing nothing doesn't feel wrong. It's just feels like it's the right thing to be done there, and it marked your memory. Like, exactly.
So that's where you started, actually. Tell us about your start.
No, the beginning was in Essaouira. I was born and raised in Essaouira, and I was very outdoorsy. Like, I like to play around, and since I was like 11 or 12, I was like always trying to find an escape out of the house, and escaping from my mom and being punished later on after I returned. But I managed to end up in the ocean somehow with friends, like playing around and trying to fish in the ocean. And basically I saw the windsurfing and the surfing happening there, and I was like, yeah, I want to do this, I want to try this. And we started with something like, with friends, we started like by bringing the top of a table, trying to skimboard on it, like just like throwing it on the shore, and then, you know, gliding on the little thin surface of water, and then try to surf it was difficult. And, you know, long story short, I tried to rent a bodyboard from the center there. I rented it once or twice and ended up buying a membership for a year there and started from there. So I had the chance to try basically a few board sports, and windsurfing was one of them. Didn't like it at the beginning. I hated it. It was really heavy. It was not fun. I couldn't manage to get going. But one day I had that, like triggered something in me that was a phenomenal thing that I needed in my life. And the passion started then, and it's not stopping soon.
So what made you choose windsurfing instead of kite surfing, for example? Was kite surfing existing back then or not?
I don't think I chose. I think it was 96, 97. Windsurfing was pretty dominant in Essaouira and the region. A lot of, like, a huge amount of tourism, you know, like tourists came from all over the world, especially from Europe, with vans and with boards. And the city or the bay was very covered with windsurfing sails. It was very beautiful. And kitesurfing was not existing. It was just about to be invented. And the first event, or the first, gathering of kitesurfers happened in 1998, I think, can't remember the event, but anyways, it came then, and I was like attracted to it. And some people told me that I needed to learn because it's a brand new sport and I could get something out of it. But I think the passion for windsurfing was too strong, and I was so distracted. I learned kitesurfing. I actually obviously learned kitesurfing back then, and I knew how to go back and forth. But I was not attracted to persist in it or to progress in it, but more like to have fun. Windsurfing was a totally different thing. It had some profound, like fundamental basics that are influencing the personality. And you need to be a very special person to learn windsurfing. Windsurfing is a very hard thing to learn. It takes a long process, and it's not just like an easy thing that you can go and you're good at it. It takes a little bit of commitment and a strong personality. While kitesurfing, I learned to go on the first day, and I had fun. But that feeling that it didn't, fire up on me. But windsurfing was, it was the thing that I was more attracted to.
I agree with you that is quite hard. Like I tried both kite and windsurfing. Actually, both of them found them hard compared to surfing. I'm a surfer, but not a kite or a windsurfer at all. I'm still intrigued into trying to learn, like do a proper trial. Last time I tried, it was like one day on the beach. I think the best way maybe is to go for a little trip or like a camp somewhere where there is consistent wind and have proper coach and somebody to help with it. Did you know what you want to do with it? Like you mentioned somebody telling you can do something with windsurfing. Like, did you know like you wanted to compete, or was your objectives quite clear back then? How old were you, by the way?
I was, I think, 13 or 14. My main goal, my dreams were small. I just wanted time on the water.
Oh.
I didn't dream of anything more than just like being able to be in the water whenever it was good to be in the water. So basically, I was just looking forward to have gear and to manage somehow. So then 14 or 15, I started working for a center, just like helping the tourists and washing the gear and carrying the boards and, being the help for the center. And in exchange, I had time on the water. And at the end of the season, they gave me some gear. And basically that was the highlight of my life, or like the biggest goal of my life, like getting gear to be able to get in the water.
Amazing.
But then like I started progressing and people started, believing that I could have a career, or not specifically like a career, but just like compete. I had the level to compete in international events. But I didn't look at it that way. I just like, maybe that was a way to get more gear, to be able to spend more time in the water. So some people helped me when I was in Moulay. Then after I finished the season in Essaouira, I went to Moulay to sail there because I had some gear to go out, and Moulay was the perfect spot. So people saw me and started telling me, yeah, you should request some sponsorship. And then there was these people coming from Europe who helped me a lot, brought some gear, and they had brands and brought me boards and sails and stuff like that. And one day a friend helped me write an email to all the brands and send in some pictures that looked different from the average back then windsurfing professional.
Locals.
And no, internationals actually. Like the style I had was really different. Maybe just the fact that I spent a little bit of time in Morocco with very few people helps me progress in a different way and pushing maneuvering and the sport in a different path.
Direction, yeah.
And that attracted, like all the maneuvering was different, was very tweaked and it was attractive. Like the sponsors who sponsor me now, Starboard and Severn, they believe that I had something different and special, maybe a little bit of exoticism and innovation and stuff like that. So they trusted me, they believed in me, and they helped me since the beginning, and they're still helping me and supporting me now.
Speaking about support, you mentioned a lot of people that helped you, a friend that wrote to you in emails or helped you reach out to sponsors and so on. Did you meet a mentor, or was there somebody that influenced your career, like you'd say, tremendously, or was it just a lot of different people that crossed your path?
The list is long. There was a lot of people that influenced me a lot, but one of them was mainly my friend Fita, who owned the Loama restaurant. Mm-hmm. I think you might have met him.
Yeah, I know him very well.
He kind of like he was my wingman. Like he looked after me and he helped me a lot since an early age, and helped me with critical decisions in my life, like things like going to school or like accepting a sponsorship and going away to Hawaii, like things like I was back then young, I didn't know what to choose and didn't know what was right and what was wrong. And yeah, he basically and directly was my mentor and my coach. And he always gave me the exact right advice to be able to, like get where I am now.
Inspiring. I think he did a movie lately, right? Like he was on I think a windsurfing, like trying to cross countries or cross to Spain or something for love. I think I saw some trailer passing by somewhere. Was it him, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. The movie is called Atlantic. It
Oh, yeah,
was
yeah,
a
yeah.
it was a movie about. It's an
Love.
artsy movie about love for family, for the ocean, for things like that. And Fatah was the star of the movie, and he's starring like as this Moroccan who was growing up in a village, Moulay village, and met a Dutch girl, and she marked his memory, and he tried to chase her back, windsurfing back to Holland somehow.
Wow. I will try to take note of this to watch it because I think I saw it like 3 years ago or something, saw the trailer, but I completely forgot to watch it. Amazing.
Atlantic is the name.
Atlantic.
Yeah,
Yeah, easy
yeah.
to remember. And so, how was it with family back then? Like, did they approve your decision and the path you were taking? I know by fact, like, families sometimes, especially back in our country, they want us to take a different path. Like, I remember my father wanted me to do something completely different from what I wanted. Like, we argued, we didn't get along for some time because I wanted to do something completely different than what he wanted me to do. But at the end, like, he approved it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was very blessed with the family I had. I grew up with a single mother and my brother. My mom was a very open-minded person, never dictated what we needed to do in life. Like she always showed us what was right and what was wrong, and she let us choose, even like choosing the wrong thing was not wrong. It was just like probably a mistake that we should learn from. And she never opposed my career or my life in any way. She always been very supportive, and she didn't know that I could have a career from windsurfing. She didn't know like I could go anywhere more than having it as a hobby. But she always like you know pushed us towards what was driving us like by heart, like we were passionate kids, like passionate about the ocean, passionate about life in general, and she supported us in what really made us happy every day, but never ever like said, oh, this is the way and you should not choose any other way. And
Yeah.
it was amazing. Yeah,
Amazing.
I'm very blessed to have such a mother.
Do you have some words that you keep on thinking of when you, let's say, you are low times or in doubts or not knowing direction, like some words that she was telling you back then?
I managed to progress more by pushing myself into, whatever was dangerous. Like anything that was like, when I put myself in a situation at risk, I just like convinced myself that I am at the right position, time and space, because I knew that was temporary and there is more and better coming after that. So to push myself to progress, I just believed that this is temporary and I have to go through it, like suffer the consequences or enjoy the consequences if they are more positive. And I didn't have like more than just like thinking, it will pass, it will break, it will pass anyway, even if it breaks,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. In French, we would say ça passe ou ça casse, même si ça casse, ça doit passer encore.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I didn't really think of anything beside that, just in terms of progressing. But I kind of applied it in every single thing, even if I was scared to go and approach a person that I look up to, or who was like older, or he had more power, important. I just like believed I will overcome my fear.
That's a very powerful mantra to have. Really, really good one, I think. Like that living by this one, it's it's somehow a blessing to have it in mind all the time. Like whatever fears are there, you have a control on your self-talk, not letting the negative self-talk come and take over, but rather having this mantra to ease whatever thing is coming ahead of you or in front of you. Really nice one.
Thanks.
So how satisfied are you from your athletic, windsurfing career right now today? Like if you want to put a number on it, what would that number be? Like a 10 being very satisfied and 1 not being satisfied at all. Where were you on the scale here? Where are you on the scale?
Career-wise?
Yeah, career-wise, if we want.
Or life-wise?
More career-wise, yeah.
I think I would put 100.
100, super satisfied.
Man, I come from Morocco, from Essaouira, like from a super small town with very close minds and very narrow edges and very small dreams.
And then you're all over there now, all over the world, flying around. Yeah.
Exactly. Like growing up, I would never ever thought of a place that existed like in the world, like I don't know, Western Australia or Tahiti or Hawaii, and picture myself there. You know, like honestly, I have zero regrets.
Yeah.
Not one single choice. Like it's all 100% fully satisfied. You know, when I look back, I didn't have a hard childhood. I didn't have a hard life in Morocco, but just the lack of opportunities was the only issue. It was more materialistic, you know?
Yeah.
And also knowledge, like education was very limited. Like what they taught us was sort of a productive thing that we needed to, you know, be part of society in that specific production.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. Mm. And then do you compete as well? Like, do you do competitions or are you more into the freestyling and free windsurfing?
The thing is, I competed my whole career. I had to be part of the world tour. So I was on the world tour since 2004 until 2014, I think. I did the World Cup. But I came to a stage where I realized I was like doing what someone else wanted me to do, not what I really wanted to do, because, well, the sponsors were very, very friendly, very supportive. In a way, they were like not pushing me to get results. They were just like, your contract, you have to attend this tour because you represent the brand and the tour is the TV of the sport or of the industry, and people need to see you on the tour. But the tour took us to places like September, October, places like Germany and Denmark, where it's cold, it's gray, it's boring. You're waiting. It was not fun. Well, boring, no, because we still had nightlife, you know. But windsurfing was boring. It was not. I mean, it had to be a perfect setup to have fun.
Not a tropical place, you mean?
Not the sun or the tropics, but the conditions were not satisfying.
I see.
It was more fun to be like, now I follow another tour, which is the International Windsurfing Tour. It's born in America, and it was like an American championship at the beginning. And I did pretty well in it because I enjoyed it and I had fun going to places like Oregon. Even the trip was amazing. I went to places like Mexico, Peru. We went to Cabo Verde. We went to Hawaii. I'm going to Hawaii next week for the International Windsurfing Tour finals. And I enjoyed being around such tour because we go and windsurf amazing spots. And that was the reason I didn't quit the world tour. The world tour. I didn't really quit it officially, but I just didn't like to go to those same places where I had to adapt. I haven't spent enough time to learn competing in those conditions because it was I had to adapt my windsurfing style to it, and that for a bit, like a tiny bit, I regret it because I think I would, if I sacrificed a little bit of my time and made the most of what conditions gave me, I would have progressed in competition more. So the world tour, I just like did a couple times the semifinals, one time in Scotland, one time in Portugal, and then that was and also in Cabo Verde and Tenerife in the Canaries. So I ended up like fifth, and then something like seventh, and then eighth, and overall I think I was like 11 in a certain year. That was the top of my World Cup results. And then, but on the international windsurfing and the American tour, I won the title in 2016, and I managed to win a couple stops in a few times in Oregon and in Mexico, which is satisfying. You know, once you go on top of the step, you are like, oh, this feels different. You know, like I'm a champion, and this is one other fun part of competition.
So you don't regret like leaving back competition behind? I mean, now so far I understood like you're more into free windsurfing, right? Or you don't compete as much as before, or do you?
I do follow just different tour, not the world tour. It's called the International Windsurfing Tour, which is more laid back tour with very amazing destinations.
Is it as emotionally and financially rewarding as the other one? Emotionally as like satisfying and bringing you joy and fun?
If you win, they both bring fun. But if you win on the world tour, you're probably going to get more reward, more by the sponsors and by the tour itself.
Yeah.
But the International Windsurfing Tour has very little materialistic reward.
Oh.
But still, same satisfaction, personal satisfaction.
Okay. So, like, do you have a specific schedule to prepare for all these events and so on? Like, how do you train? Like, do you have specific way of training, or do you just follow the wind?
Windsurfing is a very strength demanding sport. Like you have to have endurance and then balance and then strength. Basically, you use almost all your muscles windsurfing, and you're constantly creating muscle memories from learning new maneuvers because it's not always the same. And for that, you have to spend the same or double the time you spend in the water working on your core, on your balance, on your cardio, and all this take 100% sacrifice. And if you want to be on top, you have to be on top of this. The guys on top, they're on top of this. They are training almost every day or at least 5 days a week.
Super dedicated.
Absolutely. There is no other way to get to the top. It's not true unless you're insanely talented. Like there is one of the guys who is doing really good. He's like world champion a few times, who is super phenomenally talented. Like he's like, it's a phenomenon. But he would need to train to avoid injuries, for example, because it would be the biggest enemy of an athlete is to get injured. And for him to keep going for a longer time and be world champion and persist, literally he needs to train just to avoid injuries. Although I think he doesn't train like crazy like some others.
Yeah. I guess you must have a lot of structure and discipline to keep persisting and training the way you do. I mean, to get where you're at right now, you must have been training a lot consistently.
I did. Before I did train a lot. It was a daily basis thing. But the thing is now I have different approach to competition. So I have different approach to training. Although I need to train just to satisfy myself and my life and avoid health issues, for example. And
I was just going to ask you that question. I was going to ask you, what are you after actually? Are you after like being number one, or it's just fun? But like you're answering it brilliantly right now. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, I just want to live a healthy life. I just don't want to I don't want to be number one or like world champion today, because I would have to give up on so much pleasure in life, like all these diet disciplines and all kind of disciplines to be able to get fit, like super fit. You have to be super fit to be on top. And that's what makes the difference between the first guy and the second guy, or the first guy and the third guy, because one of them, or the first one, is phenomenally fit, and he works out, and he doesn't just have an easygoing diet. Like, his commitment is more than the other
Massive.
one. And yeah. And personally, I just look at a future where I have the minimum or no health issues, like I don't want to suffer, like, because of my lack of discipline, things like that.
Yeah. Like no injuries and no health issues that are coming through the age or something like that. And
exactly.
And keeping enjoying the craft, the practice, the fun that you do with windsurfing. How about the mental skills? So the one you mentioned earlier, like having a mantra, having a something that you keep on thinking about when there is step backs and so on, is really a big one. When I say mental skills, what comes to your mind?
When I go in the ocean, there is days where I push myself to go to the water just because I feel like I have to. It's happening. I arrive to a certain level where I'm becoming a little bit picky, and I want to only go when it's
perfect.
Good. Yeah, at least good. Not perfect, but like good, like windy, like waves, big. And I have the mental setup, like no pressure, no anxiousness, like from different
sources.
Yeah. To think the way I go into the ocean, I feel like I just let myself, be like surrendering to the ocean, like I surrender to the ocean and to the sea and to the waves, like trusting them. And there's moments where I just like free my thoughts, where I'm not thinking, and moments where I need focus because it's critical, and I need to think mathematically, how can I do a perfect turn, or how can I do a perfect jump after I have the material set up, and all these things, they go through the mind when you're about to go into the field, the action. And like trying to control all emotions is wrong, but like trying to accept all emotions, it feels like it's the right thing to do, like to be able to enjoy to the max. It's just like, there is moments in your session where you're like, oh, this is not happening, I'm falling. And probably because of something that isn't in your subconscious, you can't even realize what it is, and you just need moments where you take a break, and then you let go of the tension, and you let go of what causes your discomfort in the water. Sometimes it can be like from a third party, like the tension in the water is always happening because of waves and because of race and because of competition. Always want to get the first biggest wave, or the first wave of the set, or whatever, and that also messes up with your
focus, mental.
Yeah. Basically, I just like try and leave everything on land, whatever can mess up my session. And actually, I consider myself when windsurfing or being on the ocean like if I'm praying. So I just need to elevate myself and let myself surrender to the ocean.
You mentioned a lot of mental skills. You mentioned focus, emotional awareness. You mentioned awareness as in awareness, like knowing what's going on. You mentioned, I think, also visualization, which means like when you know what it is. Like, I mean, when you know which turn you have to do and how to calculate it and all that, I guess you do it in your mind a little bit during and before to go in the water. You mentioned letting go and surrendering, also a really good one to have. How did you learn all of these? Like, did it come from experience, being in the water, being in the contest, being around the world, or was there books or somebody that mentioned them, or even a coach? I mean, these are the things that I try to teach my clients, and oftentimes it is hard to give them a grasp of what it is and how important it is to have them. That's the whole purpose from doing these talks and that, like, so they can hear them also from people like you that have them through experience. I guess took years to master each one of them and to know the importance of each one of them.
I don't think I mastered. It's more like, the more you realize that you don't do enough. Like when you're a kid, you just want to have fun, and it doesn't matter how. When I was younger, windsurfing was a fun thing. It was a passion of, like pure joy, pure fun, nothing more, nothing less. It was never a source of income or of make living. It was more just like a source of that. But then the older I got, the more I knew like this is a source of knowledge. This is a source of more than just that. And the more I dive into it, the more my approach to the sport become bigger, more than just the sport, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And from the encounters I went through, or just happened because of windsurfing, I learned that there is so much more about life and about human psychic that I missed out on it being younger.
Mm.
And all this knowledge I learned, it was because of people, because of books I read, and because of my personality as well. Like my personality is because of the environment I lived in and people, and also because like the way I mentioned my personality, it's just like how I'm very open-minded to different, like to the difference or
Of different culture, different people's mentalities. I
yes,
guess,
opinions.
yeah.
Yeah.
You meet a lot of people during your travels. It must be amazing the number of, I mean, your network, the people you know, the people you meet, the smiles, the stories that you can tell. If we're going to start to ask questions around that here, I think it will take us 8 hours to talk all about the experiences you had and people you met. But would you recall somebody that you met during these trips that really impacted you, or not impacted you, just left an impression? Somebody you can think of?
There is so many. It's a long list. Like people that since I was a kid, Fitta has impacted a lot my personality, and then guys like Scott McArcher's, like an ex-world champion of windsurfing. I traveled a lot with him, and I spent quite a lot of time with him. Very unique person, philosopher, crazy man, pisshead, like an Aussie guy. And also another friend from France who I spent a lot of time with. I mean, my friends were older, always probably wiser, and always look up to them. Baptiste Goussin, Julien Schlosser, like guys like that, like Flo Young, people with very laid back personality that when I spoke to, I listened like with so much interest to what they said. And yeah, like a couple of ex-girlfriends who has affected my way of thinking as well. And yeah, life has given me the opportunity to meet some amazing people, and I hope it will never stop.
How do you manage your life outside of the windsurfing and traveling? Like, I mean, is it appropriate to ask, for example, do you have a family, or do you have a girlfriend or a partner? And do you want to have family at some point if you don't have one yet?
I do. I do have a family, actually. I'm married and I have a kid.
Okay.
And yeah, it's something that I always like keep it away from
Public.
this side of my life. Yeah, from the public and from my thing, like windsurfing. Like for me, like I'm so passionate about windsurfing. I'm like I always think like, oh, family is first, but after windsurfing, after, you know, somehow it's selfish. But honestly, my career or my windsurfing is a therapy, and it's a drug, and you name it. Like, it's a religion, it's a spirituality, it's whatever you can imagine it. It is all.
So do you manage both sides? Like, you can manage both sides, like spending enough time with them as well as spending...
Yeah, of course, because I mentioned it since the beginning. This is my priority, and it's always been, and it will always, until I decide it's not anymore, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, before I got engaged in any relationship, that was my only, rule.
Yeah.
But now it's different. I look at the world in a different way, and, like, passion, it is what it's all about. And if there is no passion, I think it would be hard to live in a balanced way.
Yeah. Do you think you would pass on that passion to your child?
I hope I can influence him. He's really young. He's only one now. Yeah. So I hope I can influence him somehow in a positive way. He's very active for now, like a baby. But let's see what he chooses. Like, I'm not gonna be like, this is what I've done, this is what you would do. But I'll be just like, taking it as it comes and letting him receive as he wants,
make
like,
his choices. Yeah. I do have one too, actually. He's 5 months, not so...
Oh, wow.
It's very young, also very small. And to be honest, I can't wait to put him on a surfboard and like take him with me and paddle a little bit, or dive a little bit under the waves. Yeah. We're here in Indonesia. We can be in the water all year, no wetsuit, no nothing. So,
wow.
I mean, I guess you have been here a couple of times at least.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've been there before it got
so busy.
Yeah, so I'm a very solo surfer. I like to be just with a few guys, not with the whole Australia in the peak or the whole,
It's so busy right now. Like, I've been here for 4 years in Bali, and I just seen it like literally exploding.
Yeah,
like 18 or 19 new shops or restaurants in 1 year. Wow. Everyone moved from Kuta to Canggu. Everyone moved from Similik to Canggu. It's just so packed busy. And like, so even if you wake up 5:30 when it's still dark and be in the water at 5:45, there will be already maybe 5-10 other people there waiting, and then a lot more will come after. And
oh my God.
And it's mixed, like whatever, beginners or advanced, everyone is in the same place. I don't know what's happening. Yeah.
Well, I was there in 2004, 5, 6, and I think 7, and
done.
It was already busy. I was like, I'm not going back. I did Lombok. It was nobody in Lombok. Now I heard there is something like Kuta Lombok, like Kuta Bali.
Oh, it didn't exist back then?
It did not. And it was just like amazing to go to Lombok and look at Lombok now in the pictures, because I didn't go back. And then I went to Sumbawa, and then to somewhere West Java, Ujung Genteng. We were just like a group of people, and I cannot imagine how overpopulated we got now.
It is unfortunately. I mean, like, I guess it's a little bit good for the people that live here, and it's good profit for them with tourism, but at the same time it adds on a lot of pollution, plastics, and crowd in the water, of course, so less quality of surfing. In Lombok now there is a very famous Moroccan restaurant. It's a Moroccan guy from Netherlands, I think, from Holland, Amsterdam, who moved there 4 or 5 years ago, and he's very successful. He's in his 3rd restaurant, Moroccan. Wow. 1 Moroccan and 2 something different, like 1 Japanese, I think, and 1 something else. And he's mid-30s, so like just very young and very successful and interesting person.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I don't know. I think we went through all the main things here. Like, I wanted to ask you if you have a message to pass on to someone who is in, like, not necessarily beginning of his career, but windsurfing or surfing or water sport career. Let's say he's intermediate.
Let's say it's a windsurfer who wants to,
Sure.
or he believed there is an opportunity for him to, let's say, have a career. Like, doesn't have to be like professional windsurfer, maybe just like a board shaper, for example, or like a windsurfer who wants to become teacher, like a windsurfing teacher or something like that. Whatever. I think it's something really important that has to be thought of is the gift of adaptability of humans, and that should be taken in a big way, like considered in a big way, that no matter where you are physically and what time or like which period you are, you have the ability to adapt your thoughts, your habits, and your entire life to the environment and to the situation, and don't wait until it's convenient or it's just like the way you knew it works. Try and adapt, like adapt your visions, your life, your dreams, your goals to the situation. And I think that's the best way to overcome all the obstacles in a deep or a profound way to success, you know, if you want to succeed somehow.
You mean by that that could be that the person, she or he, is standing in front of himself, like he could be the one blocking himself from moving forward, so he has to maybe let go of his beliefs, or how to say, his ways of thinking, and to adapt and adjust and grow into the new environments or the new ways of being, right?
Exactly. Absolutely.
I see exactly
it's,
what you mean.
Sometimes you are raised in a way and grow up in a specific society, environment, and culture, and you expect to go and apply what you grew up with somewhere else, and it's probably not gonna work, and you just have to accept and be ready to adapt your mind and thoughts to what's surrounding you.
Yeah, this applies both in the water and outside the water.
Everywhere.
Oh.
Yeah.
Very good one, Boujmaa. Thank you very much for this.
Yeah.
This has been a pleasure.
Cool, Driss. I wish you good luck with everything, and yeah, peace.
Thank you.